traditional models are you get a big team of quantity surveyors, you put them on the project, and they administer information, and it's generally analog. So we have a change. We talked about change management earlier. Change happens. Design team issue a new drawing. The drawing is bubbled. Quantity surveyor goes, oh, we have a change. Let's quantify this change to understand the impact. The original drawing versus the new drawing, original cost versus the new cost impact. But they sit down and they do that manually. On a 200 million euro project, you might have 1,500, 3,000 changes, depending on how good or how bad the design or the client's engagement is. If a quantity surveyor needs to do that, you need a big, huge team of QSs. What we're saying is that implement a digital workflow. And what you'll do is you'll remove the need for half those QSs, and you'll be able to do it digitally, quicker, more accurately, and to control your decision making. And this is the advantage of that. But by doing that, you're also collecting that data and information. So you're feeding to the next project.
Correct.
And you're analyzing who instigated the change. Was it the architect, the engineer, the client, the contractor? And if you're collecting all your changes digitally and you're assigning those changes to one of these, suddenly you realize who the stakeholder group is causing the most changes. Is it you, Mr. or Mrs. Client? Is it you, Mrs. Architect? Is it you, Mr. Engineer? And I think that's the value of the digital stuff, the digital way of working with, the new way of working with the digital QS. The traditional way is easier because people know it. And it's much more difficult to implement the digital in the middle of the process.
Yeah.
If you haven't decided at the beginning that it's something for you, don't come back halfway through and say, oh, we now need it. It won't work. Because the project has already started in its flow and communication and everything. It's almost impossible.
One other point is important as well, the data interpolation. How you integrate different type of softwares and different type of data sources.
Yeah.
How you pipeline this source in the cost management as well.
Yeah. So we simplified it quite a lot. ICMS as our cost structure, NRM as our method of measurement on every project. And then we have a data structure of our projects are based around buildings. If you have 3 different buildings, you have 3 different estimates. So buildings, and that's direct construction only. Then you have a cost for indirect construction, which is the contractor's preliminaries, overheads and profits, etc., and external works. That gives you your entire project. And then you have a separate one for client cost. Every project is the same, always. So if you go into any of the KOSMOS projects, you're going to see external works. You're going to see building 1, building 2. You're going to see building 1 direct and indirect costs.
Yeah.
And if you can overlay the buildings and analyze the substructure in each building to see the value and where the cost drivers are, et cetera, et cetera. It's not complicated. I feel it's not complicated. But when you go to a traditional company and you say, we're going to do ICMS, we're going to structure it in this way. We're not going to use a WBS, by the way, because that's a tender process. It's not a cost breakdown. They're going, hang on a second now. We break our projects up with a WBS, earthworks, contractor, concrete contractor, etc. We're going, that's procurement. That's not cost structure. That's not a data model. That's a procurement process. We can map our ICMS into your WBS and give you your packages, no problem. But you don't structure your economy for your entire project around your WBS because that's not standard. The WBSs can be changed depending on your procurement strategy.
It's more dynamic,
It's way more dynamic, but ICMS, that's fixed.
Yeah.
And so start with that fixed structure because it's standard, and then the output can be whatever you want later.